You are now listening to Out of the Blank.
Hello, am I speaking to Велислав?
Hey, Robbie, what's up?
What's up, dog?
I'm doing good. How are you?
It has been a long time.
Yeah, man. Like 2 years or something like that.
I'm glad you could finally join me on my podcast, Out of the Blank. You are now officially a guest on Out of the Blank.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, sir.
So, Велислав, how have you been, man? I haven't talked to you it's been a long time, dude. For people that don't know, me and Villi met at a hotel. He's from Bulgaria, and he was definitely an interesting person to work with. I can tell you that much. If anybody's looking for a description of Villi, you can picture him as the guy that fought Rocky Balboa, that giant Russian dude. That's Villi right there.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of similar. Not really, because you can imagine me like a gentle giant.
You are a gentle giant. Didn't you just save a kitten?
Yeah, I just did actually.
How did that
what
occur?
happened is that. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I said, how did that occur?
Oh yeah, well, I was just going to meet a friend now, and I was with my girlfriend actually. We went outside, and she said that she found like 3 little kittens and their mother, and we just went to see them, and apparently the mother disappeared, and 2 of them disappeared as well, and only one left. And we said, "Oh my gosh, we have to save this little one." This one it doesn't even see, his eyes are closed. He's like, I don't even know, like 5 days old, something like that. So right now she's trying to figure out how to feed him and how to,
probably
make him live, I guess.
Probably feed him milk, but you have to probably feed him through a bottle.
Yeah, well, there's like a Bulgarian word for the little bottle that we're using over here, but I have no idea how it's in English.
The funny thing is, I learned a little bit of Bulgarian too. Kak Volstava?
Oh yeah, what's up?
Yep. And then I know the dirty words. Micah T. Debas.
Okay.
I think that's my favorite word. I go around the hotel all the time saying that one.
Well, the Bulgarians are not that happy with this one.
What?
If you say this,
they're the ones that laugh every time I do it because they're the ones that taught me it.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, the Bulgarians doesn't, like when someone's swearing at their mother.
Well, I thought it means mother effer, not the other way around.
Yeah, so it means like it literally means like F your mother.
Yeah, I know. You see, the horrible thing about trying to learn different languages, I'll learn some Romanian, and then I'll accidentally say Romanian to a Bulgarian, and then a Bulgarian will be like, "No, that's not my language. You're speaking Romanian." I'm like, Jesus! Like, can you guys wear name tags on where you're from? Like, because I go so far out of my way to try and learn a little bit of your language, and then try and speak to them in their language, because I find it like I work with. When you came down, for example, you're coming to a whole new country. So we're going to talk about that for sure. I want to get your feelings and just the amount of, I guess, strength and just willingness to come over to a place you've never experienced before. But the whole idea of these students are coming over here, and I'm like, at least I can do is learn how to pronounce your name properly, and at the same time, like, learn a little bit of your language so you're not struggling to understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because where you speak fluently, and you speak pretty good English, you can tell that you're not American, but at the same time, you understand and you can have full on sentences with me. There are some people out there that are like, excuse me, like don't understand. They just go, I don't understand, and they'll just sit there and stare at you, and it's like, how many times have you come to America? And this is my 4th year. It's like, and you haven't even tried? Like,
Well, I went there for like 2 years, but I just upgraded my English in the United States. I actually started working on it when I was like, I don't even know, when I was like even 2 or 3 years old. I was watching Cartoon Network over here in Bulgaria, and guess what? It was not dubbed in Bulgarian, so I had to figure out what exactly are these guys talking about. So whenever they show like an item or something like that, and I have to figure out what the word means. And actually, the first word that I learned in English was pickle.
pickle.
Yeah, I don't even. I'm not kidding. It's pickle.
My first word I ever learned in any language like was Romanian. It was peanut butter and jelly and pineapple.
Okay.
They were like, "Why do you pick the most complicated word to learn?" I was like, "Because."
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
Romanian is like a mix. It's like a mix between a couple of languages, from what I understand, because like we have a lot of words that are there in common with ours, and in the same time they're not using even the similar alphabet like the Russians are using our alphabet, because like the Cyrillic, we invented it like 1300 years ago.
you said
We
the
basically
Cyrillic?
gave it to the Serbians, to the Russians, and all of them.
That's what's crazy is I've actually been meaning to ask you because you can probably shed a little bit more light onto it because I did notice some of the tension when you worked during the summer towards some Romanian people. Why do you consider them gypsies? That's a big thing with
Well,
Bulgarians I've noticed. They're gypsies. I'm like Martin was like that. I'm like, why are you calling them gypsies? You both have gypsies, but I'm not understanding.
well, it's not that I'm calling them gypsies. I mean, they're like people, like the other people, but I don't know, because like they have a lot of them, and basically, if you see like the statistics, the Romanians are more than the Bulgarians. Like we're like something like 6 million or something like that, but they're
Yeah.
more. So
I definitely
basically, they're more gypsies over there, I guess.
yeah, I definitely see that because they seem a little bit more like if you look at a Bulgarian and a Romanian side by side, they kind of like you guys look similar, but at the same time,
Yeah.
there's different demeanors and stuff in your personalities you can tell. Like one had like the Bulgarian usually had it seemed like a rougher kind of standing in life, and the Romanian seemed like he got a little bit more of an easy pass.
Mm-hmm.
So I think
with the Bulgarians, we're proud, but in the same time, we're not happy. You can imagine that. Like, we feel proud that we're Bulgarians because like we're kind of old. We're like one of the first countries in Europe, but in the same time, we suck.
why?
Politicians and all that kind of stuff.
Why do you wait? So what's wrong with your politicians? Like, this is obviously your thoughts on the country. So I would like to know because you're speaking to me, who I have never even gotten close to understanding what Bulgaria is like. I still think the only place I know is Canada is right above America. That's all I know.
Yeah, I guess. Well, you know what? I was actually looking at videos in YouTube. It basically it says like the actual title of the actual videos was Americans are ignorant and proud in the same time. So they were basically asking them like simple questions, like what country is that, or how many like countries that South America has, or something like that. And in the same time, they don't even care. I mean, then they don't care that they don't know it. I mean, you guys live like perfect lives over there, and you don't even care what's happening around
dude,
you. So
I know.
It's not that this is a bad thing.
No, it is
it is
a bad thing. It is a bad thing because see now I want you to be 100% honest on how you feel about America because I'm going to get down to everything about it. I've talked to not just you from Bulgaria. I've talked to Alex from Romania. I talked from Dragos from Romania. I talked from a couple people. I'm trying to get more Bulgarian people on. I talked to this couple named Stella and Alex. They're like best friends, and they talk about the potatoes and the things they love about like their country, and then like America, and then how it kind of has some good food, but most of it sucks. And I'm like, it's understandable. I want you to give your true opinions on what your experience was like here, because it seems like with everybody I've talked to from another country, they all come to the same conclusion on that the people here suck. And I asked why. And they always give me the answer. It just seems like people are two-faced. And I hear that. And I'm like, I 100% agree with you, because I have met very few real people in society where I live. Every single day I walk around and I see hundreds and thousands of people, and I don't see real people. I see people that are hiding behind a mask, who are truly not caring about a person. Like, as much as we got to know each other a little bit and hang out and do those types of things. I when I truly asked, "Are you okay? Hey, do you need anything? Like, hey, or how's everything? Like, tell me about your life." I was 100% sincere in it. I meant it, and I think.
Well,
Well, go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say that I guess that you're living in this country, and if I ask you right now if you left your country, most likely the answer is going to be no, because like, first of all, you don't need to do it, and
Dude,
I mean,
let me tell you, if I could leave this country right now and go somewhere where I could still live somewhere else, like, I would know that I'd be like, it basically just changed my whole position of what country I'm in right now. I would totally do it 100%.
but still,
I plan on wintertime actually taking a trip with my actual recorder and going to another state, another part of the country, another country exactly, going to Romania, take a travel day, man, because I don't know what I know what it's like to be a minority somewhere, but like for you guys are still white, but you guys are seen as a different race, which is really weird and I don't understand it. But when you truly feel out of place, which is a lot of what people in America don't understand what it's like to be out of place. When we're so comfortable in our settings, we totally lose grasp of the feelings of others. And that definitely happens with you students here. You guys feel a little bit like the odd man out. Like, you feel like you have to bind with your group of people that you're traveling with, and you can't reach out and kind of understand everything. You feel like people just look at you like you're a dog or something and don't understand. And they give you some nickname, which really upsets me, like not being able to say your real name or something, like whatever you want to be called. They go, "What's your name? Christian? Okay, I'm gonna call you Chris. I'm gonna call you." It's like, yes, but that's not his name. Does it really take that hard, or does it take that much to learn his other part of his name? Like, I I I see you guys as individual people with stories to tell. Billy, I know you from being an amazing person, where I have these memories of you from when we're taking out the trash. You're sitting there arguing with Steve about Mayweather and the Floyd Mayweather and the freaking Conor McGregor fight, where he's like, he's gonna kick his ass, he's gonna kick his ass. I'm like, no matter what country, men can still fight about who the hell's gonna fight in the UFC and win $1 billion.
yeah. Well, that was actually pretty fun. Then I actually remember these times sometimes, and it was really fun though. That's why I came to America a second time, and trust me, I need to find something that I can do for money over here, and in Bulgaria, it's kind of impossible. And the thing I can do that I like and I can make money out of it, like the place that it's going to be possible for me is going to be in America, of course, because like here, astronomy, it's like
Wait,
zero. No.
is that what you went
What's
to?
that?
Is that what you do to get you money right now? Is astronomy?
If I could, I would, but in Bulgaria, it's not possible over here. Like nobody even knows that word, so
Wait a
I
minute.
guess
So
that's
your passion, like like the dream job you want, is to do like work with astronomy?
yeah. If I can be an astrophysicist, I would, like right
What?
away.
That's nuts. What?
Yeah.
Tell me how that started, dude. Please. That's interesting as hell, man. I've never met someone that wanted to be an astronomer.
Yeah, me too. That's actually weird. And if you think about it, the astronomy. I mean, the astronomy is just the word that mankind created. Um, so basically, the universe was always here, like almost always, like
So yeah,
at
something
least
created
14
this.
billion years ago. So
So wait, do you have a
uh,
fascination? Where did all this come from? Were you fascinated with astronomy from when you were a little kid?
oh yeah, well, I didn't notice it, but in the last few years, I couldn't help myself, man. I every day that I have time, I'm always on the computer searching for stuff that I don't know because I want to know. And the interesting thing is that they never stop. Like the universe is so vast that
Dude,
you can just
we have barely
yeah.
discovered a fragment of the universe. Of our universe. Not talking about the other universes that are out there, the other galaxies, the other freaking nebulas and shit. Dude, we just discovered now that there's a white hole. You've heard of a black hole? Where it's everything gets
Well,
sucked into black nothingness. There's the complete opposite known as the white hole. It's literally like when you're watching a cartoon and they rip the background scenery off the thing and it's just the cartoon, the character in with an all white background. Like, where'd everything go? That's what a white hole is.
yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie Interstellar?
This is my favorite movie, man.
Dude, that's my favorite movie. No freaking way. Okay. That movie fucked me up for 2 weeks. I could not think of the world as being real
two kind
anymore.
of people. One of the kind is that people who like Interstellar, and the other ones don't understand it.
Dude, I'm telling you, when I watched Interstellar, that movie messed me up for the longest time. I was like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
you're telling me that there's planets and time can go differently on this planet. Like when Matthew McConaughey got stuck on that planet for an hour, and it was like 7 years had passed, and he saw a video of his daughter who was older,
Oh
and he
yeah.
was like crying. Like I saw that, I was like, holy! Like it makes you think about life and what's really out there. Like, have you ever watched the show Cosmos?
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. I have his book next to me. Astrophysicist for what was it? Astrophysicist for people who don't have time. I think that was the name in English. Yeah, I have it right here in my hand right now. I was reading it this morning.
Dude, tell me some stuff about some astronomy, man. How did that get started?
Oh my gosh! So that happened a few years ago. I cannot stop, man. This is my biggest hobby. I keep learning every single day until I understand how these things work. I'm not stopping. So black holes, I'm most fascinated about black holes, man. How can something be so dense and heavy, and it's messing up space time? Can you imagine that?
We don't even comprehend what happens truly with a black hole. We think that we've some from research we found now that I've heard was that it's like you ever take Willy Wonka, that movie Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
You know that dude that gets put in that taffy puller and gets stretched out real long.
It's like a spaghetti.
Yeah.
Spaghettification, that's the term.
That's what they think a black hole is. Like your feet go into the black hole and your body's just getting stretched and it's already 1,000,000 miles away and it hasn't even hit your freaking ankle yet. It's like, holy crap, it literally takes your particles, every molecule in your body, and it just stretches them out. Dude, I'm freaking losing my mind that you're obsessed with astronomy, dude, because that is such a hard profession to get into. What's one of your favorite astrophysicists or astronomy scientists, I would say?
Well, my favorite is going to be Neil deGrasse Tyson, but I think that the greatest one that ever walked the earth is Carl Sagan, man.
Carl Sagan?
He understood astronomy like that nobody else. I mean, he was so passionate about it. He understood it in just another level, man. I mean, if he was still alive to see the first picture of the black hole, and I don't know if you know, but if you actually saw, but 1 week ago they captured the first ever quantum entanglement ever.
The quantum entanglement?
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like I'm
And
tripping through Star Wars right now the way you're talking about this.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, like there's two particles, and what the one is doing, the other one is doing the same thing. And if you stretch them, let's say you grab these two particles and you stretch them, and one of them is in the one side of the room and the other one is on the left side of the room, and the connection just disappears, and another one is created automatically. I mean, how can your brain even comprehend that?
Well, for some of the listeners that are out there trying to understand what we're talking about with astronomy, now you're into astrophysics, correct?
Yes.
Okay, astrophysics is actually the branch of astronomy that employs the principles of physics and chemistry. So you're basically trying to figure out like the astronomical objects, like what their nature is and that their positions or motions in space. So like if a meteor was coming towards us, you'd be like, we need to figure out how to kind of deal with this, and you would be applied to help save the Earth in that scenario.
Yeah, you know what? You have to figure out quickly.
Oh yeah, for sure. Armageddon. You ever seen that movie with Bruce Willis?
I think I saw it, but to be honest with you, I don't even remember.
They had to go onto a freaking asteroid and drill into it and put a bomb in there and blow it up to save the Earth.
Oh my gosh, that sounds crazy, but it's not fiction.
Yeah, it's a possibility. All right, I don't know if this is truth or not, but I thought the Earth was hit by like a meteor where it rang for like 1 million years or something. I don't know if you've ever heard of that.
Well, it was like if I'm not sure which period are you talking about, but if it's in the beginning, it's like the body was like as big as Mars, and when it hit Earth, thanks to this body that hit it, basically that's why we have our moon right now, and it's helping the tides, and it's not like crazy weather over here.
Now, isn't all those little craters on the moon, those are all from asteroids and little rocks hitting it?
Oh yeah, totally, yeah.
So, like, are you fascinated? What's the one thing, if you could pull out of anything in astrophysics or astronomy in general, what's the one thing you have found that interests you the most, like the most specific discovery?
Well, I think that the greatest discovery, man, it has to be the black holes, because like these guys are just, they don't care about physics. The laws of physics, they're just like, I don't know, like terms and conditions in the internet. Nobody even listens to them. It's like the same thing. The black holes they don't just care. They eat, they get bigger, and after like trillion years from now, they're going to be left over, and the matter is going to be inside them, and I don't even know if like real matter is going to be present then. Only the black holes are going to be living. I mean, this stuff, I don't even know, man. They're so different.
You know what the weirdest thing I think is, like, when we try and understand like space and everything that's out there, and we're so willing to explore space. Do you know how our space program was actually developed? Like, do you know who our main influence in America was with the space race and everything?
Who was that?
It was actually Germany.
Oh, really?
The Nazis, our NASA space shuttle, I thought this might interest you. Our NASA space shuttle is actually a Nazi invention. That little white little shuttle that NASA uses to go up, that thing, that was drawn by Nazis. And our space program, the only reason why we won the space race against Russia was because we hired Nazi scientists to help us get us to the moon.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. It was nuts, dude.
Kind of weird.
I found out that it all stems from, you definitely should look it up, it's called Operation Paperclip. The reason why they call it Operation Paperclip was they had all these bunch of Nazi scientists that they were going to forgive them for their crimes if they gave us their research. So each one of them had a paper-clipped file onto their shirt. And Russia...
That's crazy.
Well, Russia, China... not Russia and China. Russia, Japan, and America got to pick out which scientists they wanted. America took all the ones that developed the space program, Werner von Braun, all these types of guys. And then Russia took a lot of the ones that do a lot with chemical warfare or biological warfare, and Japan got chemical warfare and biological warfare scientists as well. So where you guys developed learning how to well, at least Russia developed how to work on a psychological warfare, dealing with like creating these psychic warriors and stuff that they ended up bailing out on. We ended up winning the space race because we got a boost of like help from the Germans, the Nazis that were already 10 steps ahead of us. So it kept us 20 steps ahead of you guys. And it's crazy to think, like, if that didn't happen, if we didn't win that war, then we would have lost the space race, everything. And I mean, who's to say if America really landed on the moon or not first? I don't know about that one. There's a lot of evidence that shows the moon landing's fake. But I'm glad that we're taking time to discovering the world, but I think we're not focused on what's on Earth first. Because we truly have 75% of the ocean is still left undiscovered. There's an estimated 9.8 million or 9.8 million species still left undiscovered. 2.2 million on land and
something like that,
yeah, it's like 7.8 or 7.6 left in the sea. I'm like, why aren't we figuring this out? Why are we focused on the next iPhone 20 when we could be learning more about the world we're living in? Because one day we're going to have to go find, I don't know if you know this term, but a Goldilocks planet.
Yeah, of course.
And
it's like the distance between the sun and the planet that can be habitable.
See, one of my favorite astronomers is actually Galileo.
Oh yeah, he invented the telescope.
I'm a big fan of him. He didn't just invent the telescope. One of his most famous things was how he died. Did you know how he died?
You can remind me about this one, yeah.
He was put on house arrest because he came out against the church saying that the sun does not revolve around the earth. The earth and all the other planets revolve around the sun. And the church condemned him to house arrest to live out the rest of his days until he died in his own house. That is ridiculous, dude.
Yeah, and that's why I hate religion, man. I mean, from the day that the religion was accepted, like, the human beings need to believe in God in order to live.
There needs to be faith somewhere.
That's kind of ridiculous because, like, every individual needs to believe whatever he needs to believe. I mean, I cannot just make you now to believe in God, you know. I don't have to believe in God. I believe in what I see. I mean,
it's funny because now I see your
space and matter.
I see your reasoning behind that now, because I do remember you getting into an argument with Steve about because Steve's kind of a hardcore Christian guy. You got into an argument about him because he found out you were atheist, and he was like, "Why?" And then he started getting mad at you. And he literally projected the exact thing where I have a problem with religion. Now, I can't say I'm not a religious person. I don't know if you know this, but I'm an ordained minister under the Church of Bacon. Yes, I said the Church of Bacon. And I only did that because it's to highlight the most important part about religion. It's all on belief. If I choose to believe in something that seems ridiculous, like an invisible pink unicorn, yes, there's a cult out there, and it's primarily in Russia, 700,000 members. They believe in a pink unicorn. Why not? Why not? Why do I have to believe that there's a guy, an older man, sitting on a gold throne that created people? Why do I have to believe that? Why can't I believe that we came from a little organism that grew up into something bigger or evolved into something bigger? Why can't I believe that there's a 40-year-old guy with socks and Crocs on, eating potato soup, chilling on Mars and playing virtual reality, just tossing people out onto Earth? Like, why can't I believe that shit? And
I mean, every guy needs to believe what he thinks. I mean, whenever you believe in something, you cannot just demand it. That's the problem, and people don't understand it. I'm not quite sure why they don't understand it. I mean, just leave the people think and do whatever they want to do, man.
I know, exactly. We all have different thoughts and different stories and different feelings for a reason. It's what makes us individual people. And to think that, like Jehovah's Witnesses, people that take religion so far and condemn others who don't believe, is where I have a fault with religion. It's actually why I'm going for my master's in psychology, or not psychology,
Mm,
philosophy, because I want to figure out, why is this a thing? The other day I got into an argument with Jehovah's Witnesses on the boardwalk down here because they were trying to,
really?
yeah, they were trying to condemn, like, I just walked by and overheard them in my headphones say, "If you don't believe in the God himself, you're going to burn in hell." I'm like, "Hold on a second. Excuse me? Can I just let me just podcast with you, sir? I'd like to understand where that came from." Because there has literally been a video on YouTube, and Villi, I want you to look this up. There's they give 3 Jehovah's Witnesses. You know what Jehovah's Witnesses are, right?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah.
Okay. They gave 3 of them a type of I guess acid LSD type like trip. Or no, it's DMT. And they gave it to them,
Why?
and they all, in this hour and a half, or not hour and a half, it's a couple hour video. But I mean, it's only like a 5-minute video, but it's a time span of a couple hours. They just slowly, you get to see them, their thoughts on God, everything change. And they're like, what's real anymore? Like, why are we believing in this thing? Why is this thing? And the reason why I think those drugs are illegal, these types of spiritual drugs like mushrooms, LSD, psilocybin, all these types of things. I think the reason why they're illegal is because you get such a spiritual feeling from them that scares the church, and the church is like, people are going to question religion, and that can't happen.
Oh yeah, that's impossible. I mean, the Pope. I'm not quite sure if you're aware of that, but from what I read, um, so basically the guy who figured out antimatter, basically the antimatter was existing in the beginning of the universe, but there was like million particles of antimatter, and there was 1,000,001 particles of positive matter. And whenever these particles touch, they annihilate, and the positive matter overwhelm the antimatter. So that's why now we touch, and we are made of positive matter, not antimatter. But this guy figured out how to make it. And if you Google right now 1 gram of antimatter, you're going to see like 1 gram is worth like $64 trillion or something like that. And the guy who made this is the Pope, because like it's not religious. And guess what? It's ridiculous. I mean, antimatter, it's so much energy. You can generate so much energy from it, and still it's worth 1 gram of $64 trillion. Why?
Have you been following news lately with the Area 51 raids?
Oh yeah, I find this ridiculous too.
Have you seen wait, okay, why do you find this ridiculous?
Because like you cannot just storm uh, the Area 51. I mean, there's like the things that are hidden inside. I mean, I'm pretty like 100% positive that they're not aliens over there.
Yeah, exactly.
And
All right, hold on. Let me hop in on this part
if
real
they're,
quick.
yeah,
All right, so you know Bob Lazar. Do you have Netflix over in Bulgaria?
we do, but I don't use it, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, Bob Lazar, the guy that exposed Area 51, Sector 4, or Hangar 4, or whatever you want to call it, he was the one that discovered element 115, okay? And for people that don't know what element 115 is, it's called moscovium. And it's a synthetic chemical element with the symbol Mc. Its atomic number is 115, which is why it was called element 115. It was actually first synthesized in 2003 by a joint team of Russian and American scientists at the Joint Institute for Nuclear Research in Dubna, Russia. So now this thing has a shelf life. It is literally, it's so unstable. It's so like, its shelf life. So as soon as it's created, it only lasts a couple of minutes and it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing was, Bob Lazar, this guy that exposed, I don't know if you know him, like his story or anything, but he's the one that exposed flying saucers, because After the Roswell incident, somehow we found, I think it's 70 something pounds of element 115 known as moscovium, and this element was in like a ball shape. Okay, and the weird thing about this ball shape was, I could imagine taking um like a thing, a little ball of putty in your hand, like a circle ball of putty, and just slamming your other hand down on top of it, and it flattens out, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the same thing this element could do. You could take it, throw it against the wall, it would hit it like putty, and then just go right back to its normal shape. It seemed like it was like
Okay.
it wasn't dense at all. Like you just could poke it and it would create a little bump in it and then it would go back. So we're wondering if the created version that we got of this, that we found at Roswell, supposedly, was unstable and not able to live that long, at least from what we could create. It just melted away and was gone. Then why is there 70 pounds of it that's able to last years and years and years and years and years, and it's not deteriorating? So much that we were able to take bits and pieces of this 70-pound little element and turn it into flying saucers, where Bob Lazar came out and exposed that, because he came out originally saying gravity wavelengths have two forms. I don't know if you get kind of, you know, a little bit about gravity, I'm guessing, right?
Oh, gravity? Yeah, sure.
Okay. Well, gravity wavelengths have two forms, A and B. Did you know that?
I'm not quite sure. You have to, explain a little bit.
Well, for the past, this just got discovered in 2018 in December, so it's kind of all kind of. I mean, it's been like 8 months now, but it's kind of all shedding the light. The team that actually discovered gravity wavelengths have two forms, A and B. It's a research institute that's now getting the Nobel Prize. But the person that recently discovered, or not recently discovered, but originally discovered it, was Bob Lazar 40 years ago. He came out saying that gravity wavelengths have two forms, A and B. A is if I take a pencil and I hold it over something and drop it, it goes straight down. That's gravity, okay? That's the gravity we know and love, the one that's a bitch when you're trying to skydive and your parachute doesn't open up. But there's gravity B. That's the one where you see in alien movies with the flying saucer, that thing that propulses it up like kind of like a helicopter, but it just shoots it straight up in the air and it's able to like do 180-degree turns and all this random shit. That is
And
gravity.
That exists?
What'd you say?
And that exists?
Yes, gravity wavelength B. This institute just figured out that they had been wrong, and basically, this guy Bob Lazar that came out saying all this is what it is. There's two forms, A and B. The government took all of his research, all his like grants, everything, all his education, diplomas, all that, erased it all. Everything from Harvard gone, everything. And people labeled him a conspiracy theorist / nut job for the past 40 years. And now it's all coming out that he was right.
And yeah, I mean that's kind of sucks, bro. I mean, he was discovering this stuff 40 years ago.
Yes, 40 years ago he discovered
and nobody believed him.
No, because he was looked at like Galileo was, where they locked him inside his house and figured he was a loon. Nobody believed Galileo until after he died.
Yeah.
And some of the articles on Galileo's trial are in the Vatican archives, another thing by the church. See, it's weird when we start finding out stuff like weird little things that are actually true, and we condemn somebody because we might think they're that crazy person screaming on the bus that no one wants to sit next to. This man dealt with dealing all this pressure from people calling him a nut job, him losing his wife, him losing all these types of things. And he has this documentary now called Bob Lazar in Area 51. And he talks about it all. He talks about all these personal experiences, everything, all the documents, all these files, all these stuff that people labeled him a conspiracy theorist, and they're all coming out as true. Like, holy shit, we're so sorry we called you a scum for 40 years. Can we do anything to help you? Yeah, stop calling me a scum and let me get the word out there. Well, after all this came out, he went on a Joe Rogan podcast, which is the reason why I started podcasting, was Joe Rogan. You hear him talk about everything about Area 51 and all these S4. S4 was where they kept the flying saucers and all the alien shit. And he was talking about this, and this is what sparked the idea for the Area 51 raid. People are like, oh shit, we're going to storm Area 51 and get the real information. I'm tired of them hiding the secrets. We want to know that aliens exist. I want to know why they're probing my ass. Well, it's
aliens. I kind of doubt that, because like if aliens exist, trust me, they have two reasons to come over here to Earth. I mean,
wipe
one
us
of the
out.
reasons are because like they're going to be okay with us. The other reason is because they're not going to be okay with us, and it's a 50-50 chance for us. And if they are coming to Earth, trust me, everybody's going to know it. I mean,
I
it's
think
going
my
to be quite visible.
first question for them is, why do they probe the ass?
I don't know.
Then I said that one
that's-
time, and someone gave me the best answer I've ever heard was, because we eat with our mouths and everything comes out of our ass. So technically, it's all our processed information coming out of our ass. And I said, that is beautiful, and that's probably why they do it. You know how much information you could probably learn from my ass? A lot.
Yeah, well, if they were thinking like that, I mean, I'm really not quite sure if the aliens are going to take probes. They're going to use like the anus, but I think that the main thing that they're going to be searching for in a human body is the brain, simply because like the brain is like this is the most complex thing ever. Like,
Yeah, we
there's
barely
nothing more
understand
complex
it.
than the brain.
We barely understand the brain. We don't understand the earth,
Yeah.
and we need to focus on not the earth. We need to focus on what's in our head. It's something so close to us that we have no comprehension of understanding. How is it that someone could get a bump on their head one day and speak in a whole different accent? A woman, this is called foreign accent syndrome. Oh, it's been, I think, 166 reported cases since 1996. It's these people that get like in an accident and get some type of head trauma, and next thing you know, they're speaking in a different accent. So I'm speaking in American or English, straight English. Then I bump my head, and next thing I know, I am talking like this. Would you like a shrimp fried rice? Like, there are legit people out there that have this condition. And one of them's a woman from England who's never even been close to China, but she sounds like she's Chinese. And you can't tell if she's
That's kind of
faking,
weird.
but they scanned her brain, and it saw that there was this part in her, like where her left side of her head, where it focuses on vocal language and recognition, was like different than what it used to be. It had like a little light on it where something was wrong, something was not functioning, something was not firing. And that's what happens. I'm like, it's nuts to think I can hit my head super, super hard on the back of it and I could be blind. That's how people go blind. Where our brain is so fucking sensitive.
You know, there's like the different parts of the brain. The one that operates the eyes, the other one operates the thinking and all that kind of stuff. It depends like which part of a brain you're going to damage.
I know, but that's fascinating to think how something, we're worried about going out into space and trying to discover if aliens are real or not. How about we discover why John, who's from Texas, is talking like he's from England? I don't understand.
You know what? The people doesn't know from where to start, man. I think that's it. I mean, they want to know everything, but in the same time, they don't know how to, start with it. I mean, if I was like the smartest person on Earth, I will start with us. Then I'll continue with the Earth, so I can know what am I and what is the Earth, and then I'll know what to search in space.
So even with your passion for space, you wouldn't want to go there first? You wouldn't want to do research there first? You'd work on people?
Well, we barely know anything. I mean, we're constantly learning everything that we need to know in order to exist. And the main thing in life, it's evolution. I mean, if there's no evolution, we're going to be staying like that. I mean, the human brain is going to be like that all the time. And I mean, if there's no upgrades, it's like you're staying on one point and not doing any progress, which is kind of bad.
What do you
need
think?
to progress. What's that?
What do you think of the people that don't believe in evolution?
You know what? How can you not believe in something that's everybody can see?
Yeah, exactly. Evolution happens around us 24/7. You're telling me the Villi from 5 years ago is the same Villi today?
Of course not.
No, your thoughts have evolved. Something has changed your preference. Something has added into your intelligence, or something along the road has changed. You've gotten taller, you've gotten older, your skin, everything. That's evolution. That's progressing in life.
Of course.
And
evolution existed from the moment that life started existing.
Exactly.
I mean, that's the main thing. And most of the people, when you ask them, hey, what is the meaning of life? They'll say, oh, I don't know. I mean, most of the people doesn't know this answer, and actually nobody knows it. But you know it, you just don't understand it. I mean, evolution was existing from like day one. So the main thing in life is just to progress and do everything that you need to do, because the resources in this planet, they're not infinite. I mean, everything will come to an end, and then we'll need to survive somehow, and it's not going to be here. It has to be somewhere else. And in order to do that, guess what? Evolution, we have to progress, and we have to start thinking more and more and more until we become like type 2 civilization. We need to become type 3 civilization.
No, wait. Hold on a second. You know about the planetary civilizations, that type thing, the type 1, type 2, type 3?
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh hell yeah, man.
I did a
podcast on that shit, dude.
Really?
Yeah, that's man. Cool. I did a podcast, one of my fill in the blanks, the one that's focused down on specific topics, and also the global brain, how like the internet and everything like that's all going to be connected into a hive mind to the point where it becomes like this giant like web that literally is like a bunch of lights pinpoint over the whole entire earth, creating like a force field net of intelligent minds that are all hooked onto one central thinking.
Yeah.
Dude.
That's cool.
Planetary civilizations, though. That's a real thing we have to look at. And people are like, there's no way that we're ever going to colonize on another planet in our future. Bruh, there's projects all over the place. There's so much shit about colonizing on the fucking moon that we've been doing for years now. The whole reason Project 4.1 was either 4.1 or A119, that was a planned mission to launch a nuclear attack on the moon. The whole reason we didn't do it was because we realized if we're ever going to live on another planet, we don't want to be fucking with space. We don't want to try and put nuclear radiation in there. So I'm like, wait a minute, like, to think that this Earth is going to last forever, especially at the rate we're taking it, it's not gonna happen. It's headed for an inevitable downfall, sadly. But it's what happens. Everything has an expiration date. Even if we weren't put on this Earth, it would still have an expiration date. Stars burn out. If the sun's gonna burn out, we need to work on where we're going to colonize next.
Well, you know what? Like the person who knows that, and he's trying his best right now to actually help humanity.
Matthew McConaughey.
Matthew McConaughey, yeah, him, but Elon Musk too.
Oh shit,
he's trying to get us to Mars until 2050.
He's trying to do a really bunch of crazy stuff, dude. I do like Elon Musk, but he's launching Teslas into space. I'm like, oh my god, dude, just focus on one thing, please. I don't need a flamethrower. I need to know when the Earth is going to give up so I can get off this planet before everybody here dies.
Yeah, well, I'm almost sure that you witnessed how he talks. I mean, his thoughts are so much. His brain is working on
exactly
on another level.
But that's not.
He does. It's like he's not from this time. I mean, he's coming from the future, and he's careful what to say, man.
No,
it's like
with him, what I believe is, have you seen the Joe Rogan podcast with Elon Musk?
Oh yeah, of course.
Everyone's like, he talks so weird. It seems like he's lying. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I have worked out at a gym for going on 7 years now, and the reason why I use this reference is because I have witnessed people, like, I've worked out at different times over these years. I've been at 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, and my times have constantly rotated. The people you see at a gym are at 1 o'clock in the morning are too smart of people to have conversations with normal people, and that's what I believe Elon Musk was. He was too smart. His brain was firing on too many pistons to answer questions that weren't relative to his way of thinking. Now, this is different when we see Neil deGrasse Tyson. Neil deGrasse Tyson is a great speaker. He is someone that can be able to dumb it down for the small population. But most scientists, most smart people that isolate themselves from others is because they have a hard time trying to make others see their way of thinking because their brain is on another level, another scale that we can't even comprehend.
Yeah, I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson has like a voice that it's like he's using magic in it. I mean, he's explaining something that is so difficult, but in the same time you understand it because like it's not that hard to understand as long as you have a person who can do it.
It's like Bill Nye the Science Guy. You know Bill Nye?
Yeah, he was an astrophysicist as well, right?
Yeah. Well, Bill Nye is he's a major scientist, like in all different forms, and he comes out and he teaches people everything. Like, we need to worry about the Earth. We need to worry, and he gets all these opinions. His show's pretty good on Netflix. He's got a new one. He's like, his one video came out because he's used to teaching kids. Like, that's what I grew up on in school, was watching Bill Nye the Science Guy, Bill, like that whole thing. And well, his show now, he's like, now you're all are grown ass adults. And he goes, you see this? This is the Earth. And he lights it on fire. He goes, it's on fucking fire. Pay attention. You're not kids anymore. Let's get to the real shit. And he walks away. I'm like, oh my God, Bill, drop the mic. Holy, it's like he's adapting to the way the world is now, where it takes flashy things to get somebody's attention. But he's like, this is serious shit, guys. Like, you need to worry about what's happening around here. But he's a good speaker. He's able to talk about things. Elon Musk, his brain is on so many different wavelengths and thinkings and trying to figure out what to do next. What can I be doing next? Building tunnels, doing whatever. That everyone was like, he seemed like an idiot in that interview. No, he's not an idiot. He's someone that is dealing with so much that he can't dumb it down for us to understand. He doesn't have the time.
Yeah. I mean, he really doesn't have the time. If you look it up, Elon Musk works like crazy hours during the week. He works more than 120 hours during the week. Can you imagine working that much?
I can imagine working that much when I enjoy doing that work. You know what I mean?
You're right, yeah.
Like, if you were able to be working in astrophysics and all that, you would work as many hours as you were able to.
Yeah, sleep is going to be for losers then. I'm not a loser, so...
You don't need sleep when you're in space drinking a Mai Tai on the moon with intergalactic ladies, bruh.
Imagine that. That would be so fun.
But we can't, like, when you... Alright, so do you ever watch the show Futurama?
Oh, yeah, but only a couple of episodes, by the way.
About to say, but does that show kind of spark a little bit of interest? Like, is that a pretty cool show to watch for you? Because that's all about dealing with, like, space and aliens and all these types of things. I have a fascination with aliens. You have a fascination with more of the whole space aspect, I'm guessing. Like, you said you enjoy black holes.
Yeah, I love it.
But, like...
but I watched Rick and Morty. It's totally fine.
Exactly.
I like that.
I like knowing that there's, like, that one day society might have a quick way of getting into space like that. Like, hey, you want to go to the moon real quick? I'll play some golf or something. Like, hell yeah, man, let's go.
Yeah.
I like that whole thing. Like, I do believe that society will one day get there, but I think we need to focus on other steps too to figuring out what's going on here.
Yeah. First figure out here, then wonder about space. But still, I want to wonder about space.
Now, you said in the beginning that it would be a problem for you to get a job like this in your country, or did you say it was a problem to get a job in America?
No, it's a problem to get it here because like we have only one observatory, and guess what? There's like one person who is working over there, and he's getting. Let me calculate it for you. So, like the minimum wage over here, the salary, it's 500 and something leva, which if you calculate it into US dollars, that's like $300 a month.
That's not enough to live on.
I mean, that's not enough to buy bread for a whole month.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. Why, if the space program was such a fascination back in the day in Russia and like that those countries over there, then why is it not popular there?
Well, it's because like the people over here, their mindset, it's so different. You as an American, I saw you guys that you care, and we do not. We just don't. We don't care about anything.
Why?
We don't care about you. We don't care about the guy who's sitting next door. We don't care. We just care about ourselves. Like the Bulgarians, and I'm not sure if it's the Bulgarians, but I think that most of the Balkans over here, most of them, they just don't care. They just care about themselves. And if I see like a kitten over there, like last night there was a kitten that was making some sounds, and there was only one person who stopped and tried to help the kitty. I think he was stuck in a car or something like that. But we watched through the window because it was kind of far away, and it was late in the night. And there was dozens of people that were walking, and they just, look, they don't care. I mean, what else? I mean, if in America, like there was a lost kitten on the street, you'll stop and you'll find somehow like the kitten to at least give it to someone who needs a kitty, and he can take care of it. But here, I mean, there's like so much dogs that doesn't have shelter or something like that. I mean, they're in the same time nobody cares, and nobody's doing anything about it, and people just care about money because nobody has money, and that's the first thing on their mind, and all they care is money and themselves. That's basically it.
Is that one thing that you think that your country needs to work on a little bit?
Oh my gosh, they need to work on it like 24/7. And
that's brave thinking for you. I'm not saying you as a person, but for people in general to understand that. Like very few people understand where their country needs to grow in certain things. And I'm glad that you understand. Like, Billy, I've seen you evolve from the time you've come here all those years, dude. I've seen you change. You seemed when you first started, you didn't care about anything, but after like you working there and like just being able to kind of communicate with you every day and everything, I saw you slowly start to change a little bit, start to become a little bit softer when it came to people. Like, man, can I get some help? Yeah, I'll help you out. And you decide, like, yeah, but it's because you all realize we're people and we're all living here together. It doesn't matter if you're from America, it doesn't
oh
matter if
yeah,
you're from Bulgaria, it doesn't matter if you're from Romania, it doesn't matter. We're all people, and there's a bigger solution and a problem at hand that we need to focus on, and that's understanding the world we live in, that we have a very few grasps, and understanding who we truly are. You have a passion for astrophysics. That is something rare. I have never ever met anybody that has, and I really am glad that you said that, because this is so inspiring to hear somebody that has a fascination with space. And I'm not talking about the freaking whatever you want to call it, that astro signs, all that type of whatever you get your horoscope from. You have a fascination with the things that we don't truly understand about the world. Like, does it piss you off that there's people that think the earth is still flat?
Trust me, man.
I'll take
When
that
I
as a
hear
yes.
it's like somebody stabs me in the heart and swears at me at the same time, and I cannot do anything about it.
But Billy, don't you know the earth is flat and it's only 6,000 years old?
And here comes like my IQ level is dropping so drastically that I don't even know my name anymore. I mean, how can you actually think that Earth is flat when in the same time you see the horizon?
Dude, that freaking
Everywhere.
guy, that guy that ran for president and ended up backing out, the dude Ben Sharp, that guy, he freaking
Really? And he was thinking that Earth is flat?
he's a flat earther and he's a respected neurosurgeon. A neurosurgeon. You are a fucking respected doctor and you don't believe he believed the earth was 6,000 years old and he believed that the earth was flat. I was like, "Are you shitting me? You're a respected doctor that deals on the human brain." What?
And here comes the question. Why? Why are you thinking like that? I mean, when you know that this is not possible, it's physically, morally, and whatever, it's just not possible. Why are you deciding to think something that is not possible to be possible? What, you're trying to beat somebody's ego, or you're trying to be like different and to be interested in some way? That's not the case. Do something that people are going to notice. Go save a dog or something like that, to people to admire you, not to think like a flat earther. And it's like you're going to be discovering that Earth is flat. You cannot discover that Earth is flat because it's not.
That's true.
I mean,
well, their whole reasoning comes from like they believe that all the photos from NASA and all the stuff, like everything coming out that NASA kind of did with the space program, is a little bit fake. Like the moon landing, there's evidence that some of that stuff was fake. They believe the images are fake. I'm like, but to believe that it's now the 21st century and those images are still fake and we haven't got a good picture of the moon, like, then why does it look like it's from a fisheye lens? It's like, I don't know, like.
It was 60, like 1960 or something.
Yeah. Well, apparently,
I mean,
Earth's day and night cycle is explained by positioning that the sun and the moon are spheres measuring 32 miles that move in circles 3,000 miles above the plane of the Earth. Stars, they say, move in a plane 3,100 miles up. Like spotlights, these celestial spheres illuminate different positions of the planet Earth in a 24-hour cycle. Flat earthers believe there must be an invisible anti moon that obscures the moon during lunar eclipses.
how can you even think of that? I mean, how can you even imagine that something like this can exist?
Well, they also think gravity's an illusion, by the way.
Oh yeah, of course, gravity is an illusion. If it's an illusion, they can manipulate it. I mean, all illusions can be manipulated, right? So why they can just jump off a balcony or something?
They say that objects do not accelerate downward. Instead, the disk of Earth accelerates upward at 32 feet per second squared.
Well, I don't know. I don't even know what to say about it.
Now, I hear that and I'm just like, okay, all right, that's a little bit ridiculous.
It's a little too much, to be honest with you. I mean, these people, I don't know if somebody's going to be offended of that, but I call these people parasites simply because they are not in help in anybody. And if you're not making anybody's lives better, you're just wasting your time.
Dude,
I mean,
one of the most famous rappers, Bob, B.O.B.?
Oh, B.O.B., yeah, I know him.
He believes the Earth is flat.
Well, I don't know. Why does Eminem doesn't believe like Earth is flat?
He got into a fight with Neil deGrasse Tyson over Twitter about the sphericalness of the planet.
Wait. Why would anybody get in fight with Neil deGrasse Tyson? First of all,
yeah, that's like walking. That's bringing a knife to a gunfight. Like that's bringing a knife to a tank fight.
Like knife to a gunfight. Like there's like M4 and Kalashnikov and like some sort of bazooka or something like that. Like a real army.
To believe that the Earth just drops off at a certain point and it's just flat and just drops off is ridiculous. I'm sorry. I can't wrap my head around that one.
Yeah, I mean it's anti-physics. You cannot just beat the laws of physics because they just exist. I mean something that exists and we already prove it. you cannot just say that it doesn't exist. I mean, one of it is to say it, the other is to prove it, and we already proved it.
See, but their whole thing is that it's a man-made. Everything that's proof or evidence is man-made. It's not, hasn't been. It wasn't a conscription of what is known as religion. So that's where they fall with flat Earth. That everything's man-made. All the evidence is man-made. So it's probably falsified and not real to their eyes.
But how can you man-made space-time?
That's the thing. How do we know how to do any of this stuff? How do I know that? Why do I know if I flick a light switch it turns on? How do we know how to do that? I don't know.
Oh my gosh.
It's a whole nother thing.
I think that these people just they woke up one day and they said, "Hey, today I'm gonna be stupid," and I think that it's fun, and I'll be stupid all my life.
You know what's crazy to think is that every person that's been labeled crazy and nuts through history has had the smartest way of thinking, I think.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein was the first.
It's not ordinary.
Albert Einstein.
People were used to see like same things over and over again.
Albert Einstein was the first predicted the existence of black holes in 1916. His general theory of relativity. The term black hole was coined many years later in 1967 by American astronomer John Wheeler. After decades of black holes being known only as theoretical objects, the first physical black hole ever discovered was spotted in 1971, and this is from the nationalspacemuseum.com, so it's real shit.
And if I met somebody from the 20s, and I told him, hey, black holes exist, he's going to be like, I'm a crazy person. But later, when I prove it, and in the same time, the bad thing is that they're not going to be caring anymore, because it's like I'm trying to say that the man's ego is too big that they cannot control it. I mean, you cannot control your ego. Even if you were wrong, you still think that you were, right. And that I think that this is the biggest mistake of mankind that they're doing right now. Everybody has an ego. Like Donald Trump has an ego.
Yeah, nobody wants to be proved wrong.
Everybody, they cannot just waste it. I mean, they cannot just ignore their ego. It's just too big.
Like, nobody wants to be proved wrong, obviously, but at the same time, there's a reason why you can be proved wrong, is because it fucking humbles you. It lets you know you don't know everything, dummy. Like, it doesn't happen. You're not all that. Like, you don't have this sense. And, like,
try to explain that to Donald Trump, I guess.
Oh, yeah. Oh, good luck. You know, but it's crazy to think that you can think one way about anything. I'm not against the earth being flat. I haven't, I don't know. I don't know what the hell space is. I don't even know how my freaking light in my refrigerator turns on when I open the fucking door. So I haven't gotten to, I guess, their reason of thinking, but I think they might be brainwashed. Anybody can be brainwashed by anything to think a certain way. I think that's what's happening, is people get influenced by other people, good talkers, good smooth people that are able to kind of win them over in a conversation, use a lot of like kind of evidence and supportive points to get them on a one-sided thing. And I think that's what is lacking in the scientific community, at least. But Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of these very few that are able to do that in the scientific community. A lot of people that do scientific research and have all this information and evidence have to prove massive amounts of paperwork, massive amounts of stuff that can be discredited by a bunch of conspiracy theorists, only because the conspiracy theorists seem to have a better way of explaining and better way of talking and swaying the people to their side. And scientists trying to understand, like if you were trying to describe everything about a black hole to me, I'd be like, I would be mindless. I wouldn't be able to understand it. I'd have to look it up for myself. And the fact that we've been learning about black holes from the 1900s, and then finding out in the year 2019, we finally get the first electronic image ever recorded of a black hole by the Event Horizon Telescope. Like,
Which was amazing, by the way.
Yeah, it saw the black hole in the center of the galaxy M87. It was just examining the event horizon and the area past which nothing can escape from a black hole. And I mean, I'm looking
And
at the
that thing was huge.
I'm looking at the freaking pictures right now, man. It's nuts.
I mean, this is just a shadow. We cannot just see the black hole because, like, simply light cannot escape.
You wouldn't know.
This is just a shadow of it.
Anything that goes in that thing, it's like your garbage disposal. It's just gone. Just gone.
You cannot hear it. You cannot see it.
It's nothing.
And you can only know that it's there.
That's scary as shit.
It is.
Do you know there's three types of black holes?
What's that? Can you repeat it?
Do you know that there's 3 types of black holes?
Oh yeah, so there's like the ordinary black hole. So there's a supermassive black hole, and there was a quasar. The quasars are like these look like the huge black holes that I think that they're like hypermassive, if I'm not mistaken.
What do you know about the stellar black holes? Explain that one to me.
Stellar black holes. Let me think about it. I'm not quite sure. If you know it, you can let me know.
Well, stellar black holes are like the small ones you were talking about, the ordinary ones.
The small ones.
So it's when a light star burns through the last of its fuel, the object may collapse or fall into itself. For smaller stars, those up to about 3 times the sun's mass, the new core will become a neutron star or a white dwarf. But when a larger star collapses, it continues to compress and create a stellar black hole. Black holes formed by the collapse of individual stars are relatively small but incredibly dense. One of these objects packs more than 3 times the mass of the sun and the diameter of a city. This leads to a crazy amount of gravitational force pulling on objects around the object. Stellar black holes then consume the dust and gas from their surrounding galaxies, which keeps them growing in size. And this is all information according to the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. The Milky Way contains a few 100 million stellar black holes.
Which is quite a lot. Can you imagine how much black holes that is? I mean, there's like billions of planets and stars, and
there's some person
millions of black holes, and that's so scary, man.
There's some person out there that is like worried about how they're going to find enough money to fuel their car in the morning, and then they just heard that there's a few 100 million stellar black holes, and now he's like, well, I got another thing to fucking worry about.
Yeah, that would be funny. But still, I mean, there's like these stellar black holes. You said that, for example, there's like a stellar black hole with 3 solar masses, which means like it's weighing 3 suns. And then here comes the gargantuous, like hypermassive black holes, which is 66 billion solar masses. This thing.
All right, so you're talking about the supermassive black hole, right?
The supermassive, we have one in the center of our Milky Way galaxy. It's 4 million.
Yeah, but that's the one when you mean the massive one, the gargantuan one, because there's stellar black holes, intermediate black holes, and then supermassive black holes.
Yeah.
So the supermassive black hole is the one you're talking about, is the biggest one.
Yeah. Well, the biggest one, I think that the biggest one that I just told you about was 66 billion. I mean, nobody can imagine. I mean, our brains are not that advanced to imagine something like that. I don't think that even ever is going to be that advanced to imagine something like that. That's just too much.
Well,
I mean,
for some people that don't truly understand what a supermassive black hole is, it's known as the birth of giants. And actually, this article says that small black holes populate the universe, but their cousins, supermassive black holes, dominate the universe. These enormous black holes are millions or even billions of times as massive as the sun, but are about the same size in diameter. Such black holes are thought to lie at the center of pretty much every galaxy, including the Milky Way. Scientists aren't certain how such large black holes spawn. Once these giants have formed, they gather mass from the dust and gas around them, a material that is plentiful in the center of galaxies, allowing them to grow even more enormous sizes. Supermassive black holes may be the result of hundreds or thousands of tiny black holes that merge together. Large gas
Yeah.
clouds could also be responsible, collapsing together and rapidly accreting mass. A third option is the collapse of a stellar cluster, a group of stars all falling together. Dude, this you can picture with looking at your sink drain and every little piece of food or dirt, whatever, just scattered around the sink, and then water just flushing it all into the fucking hole.
And you know what's different? At least in the sink you can pull it off. And guess what? In the black hole,
It's
no way
gone.
out.
Little Jimmy's gone. He's on the back of a milk carton because he got sucked up by a black hole.
Yeah.
Oh my god,
So,
dude. That fucking
if
scares the shit out of me how there's dark matter, antimatter. There's freaking Did you ever see the movie, the superhero movie with Ant-Man?
yeah, I actually saw it, but to be honest with you, I was not that fascinated about it, and I don't even remember it. But all of the other Marvel movies, I can just tell what exactly happened on it.
I
But
I just get
Ant-Man,
I get fascinated when
yeah,
they talk about entering that like that this like the interstellars or the cellular zone, like that whole like shrinking down and all that to like a cell level and then smaller than a cell and then all that type of stuff. Like that fascinates the shit out of me. If you thinking being smaller than a cell, being smaller than anything that is recognizable like smaller than an atom, and you think of that and you're like, that's basically us in this giant space. Like,
oh yeah, we're nothing.
we're
just
we're not even
like
a fucking
small
speck, man.
parasites of nothingness.
You know what my mind relates to? You ever seen Men in Black?
Yeah.
Okay, you know at the ending of one of the movies, they have a bunch of aliens rolling marbles, and the marbles inside of them are the galaxies.
Yeah.
That's
And
that's what I think
it's
of when I
pumping
think
them
of
up.
fucking space. That's what I think of. I think of us like we think we're this giant thing that's controlling the world and or controlling our like galaxy, and then it zooms out and we're just in a marble that an alien has in a marble sack just playing a game. I'm just like, oh my god, we don't even know what's out there.
Yeah, if the alien is in a higher dimension, because like right now we're in the third dimension, we have up, left, right. But if the alien is in the seventh dimension, he doesn't even have a physical form. He's just there. He can do whatever he wants. He can manipulate everything. He's like a god. And if you want to believe in God, you better believe in alien or not some sort of an invisible man that made us from dirt.
It's dude, I mean, I don't know how you can be so fascinated with these types of things, dude. Some of this would put people into terror where they never want to experience the world anymore.
I want to experience everything because, like, I'm alive and I'm not sure if I'm going to be alive anymore. What I mean by that is, if you're a believer and you believe in God, and when you die, most likely you're going to be reborn,
Yeah.
But the cruel honesty over here, I'm just gonna say it out loud. I mean, it's just like a chemical reaction that you actually believe you're alive. We're just able to move, think, and see simply because like life just exists, and our chemical reactions someday they're going to stop, and we are just going to be, not existing anymore. And that's how just it is. I mean, it's not that you're going to be reborn in some other body or something like that. It's just a chemical reaction right now in your brain makes you think that you're alive.
Dude, I give you credit, man, because the fact that you're willing to pursue something this kind of so hard and complicated for most people to understand, it's definitely a tasking thing, dude, because for me to even try and understand half of the stuff I'm reading and trying to make sense of it all, it makes me think like immediately I just want to look up Neil deGrasse Tyson, find his phone number, and just have him kind of tell me a bedtime story and try and keep my brain from overloading, because it's nuts to think about all the crazy things that go out there, man. The fact that something like a star, something so powerful, something so bright, something that's just ridiculous. It's crazy. We barely understand the complexity of how different they are. And then a black hole can just suck up a suck up a star and tear it apart. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, they can actually do it in 120 days. There's I saw a computer simulation, because they cannot photograph it, but they saw it happening, and they computer simulated how there was a star that passed to a black hole, but it was really close, and then it actually get in the event horizon, and guess what? It was eaten, and then the matter. A little bit of it, of course, it was spreading out around the black hole, and in 120 days, it was all gone.
Dude, the fact that you can literally take a description of a black hole, and if you explain anything like what it is to anybody, they would immediately think in their mind as the trash compactor of the universe. Taking anything and everything and just, it's gone. Sorry, you're not getting it back. There's no lost and found. It's gone forever.
Yeah, and it's kind of scary, because I saw Interstellar, and I was thinking that if you enter in a black hole and you ended up on a new place, oh my gosh, that would be so kind of crazy, and in the same time, I want to do it somehow. I want to do it right now. If somebody comes over here and says, "Hey, I have a spaceship over here. It can manipulate space time, and basically we can just teleport anywhere you want," and I'll say, "Fuck it, let's go to a black hole. Let's see what's happening."
You wouldn't be scared of being turned into spaghetti?
Well, I don't want to turn into spaghetti, but I just want to see it, man. This if somebody's going to see a black hole and I have a choice, it'll be me.
So you believe that if it came down to, hey, we got to test somebody to go into this black hole, we're going to need a candidate, you would be the first one to sign up?
I am the first one, man.
You're punching people in the doorway. You're going to be the only candidate. I'm glad you have a pursuit for this, man, and I hope you do something with it, man, because the fascination from just all the stuff you can figure out in astrophysics with its whole entire anything from dark matter, dark energy, black holes, multiverse, origin, whatever the hell you want to call it, all the wormholes, time travel, and all that.
It's a lot of terms.
That makes Christians basically shit their pants, but it's crazy to think, because throughout history it has been a fascination of the earth, everything from science to space to everything, the stars, from Plato, from Aristotle, from Galileo, Descartes, Newton, all these people that had a fascination with these types of laws and physics and all these things, and they're seen as great people that were known insane, crazy in their time period, that are seen as epic philosophers and historians today, and epic scientists today, known as the greatest thing in our history. Villi, that can be you one day, man.
Well, I really hope that can happen, but it's really hard, because as I told you, over here I don't have any chance of doing this. I have to go somewhere else. I have to start from scratch. I'm already 23 years old, and
that doesn't
I'm not
mean
sure
shit,
if the time
dude.
that I have it'll be enough.
That does not mean shit, dude. You can do everything in achievement of your goals, man. I know you to be stubborn, dude. You can definitely pursue this. Galileo was 36. No, he was 42 or 36 when he was put on house arrest, coming out about the Earth being not the center of the universe. So you got to think. You got plenty of time, man. You can be the age of 70. If you make a discovery, I know if anything, it's going to be you, dude. Because let me tell you, the space is so vast, dude. You don't even need to make a giant discovery, but there's something out there in space that is going to be completely new to someone else's eyes. It's the reason why when you look at a cloud, what you see is different from what someone else sees. It's
Oh yeah.
we all pick up different things. It really fascinates me. And I dude, I know you're gonna do great things, Villi, because I know you to be an epic dude, and I'm very glad to have met you and very glad to have a chance to talk to you about space and black holes on my podcast.
Sure thing. That, that's like really cool for me because this is like the first time I'm doing this, but in the same time, in the first time, I'm speaking with somebody who understands me, and he understands my passion, and which I'm really grateful for you. And yeah, thank you very much for having me as well. It was so fun, and if I had a chance to speak with you more on that, I will do it right away. So
Damn right, dude.
yeah.
I'm definitely down to get you on my podcast again, dude, because you got some amazing thoughts, dude, especially trying to shift through this type of I guess astrophysical mess, because there's a lot of stuff to learn. Actually, I'm probably going to go
A
deep
lot.
down the rabbit hole once this podcast is over about I'm probably going to watch Interstellar a couple of times, because I feel like I haven't
Me
been
too.
humbled on who I am in this world yet, because when you watch Interstellar, that's something that literally humbles your brain. Your brain's like, "Oh yeah, wait a minute. Gas price is 267. That's not my concern right now. I'm concerned that there's freaking Matthew McConaughey stuck in space somewhere and we don't know how to get him back."
And he went to a different dimension. The aliens helped him out, actually,
That's what
to
I'm
see his
saying.
life.
Aliens, they
And
exist. Why are they
yeah.
obsessed with my ass? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Well, Billy, thanks for being on the podcast, and I hope to have you on again soon.
Oh yeah. Thank you very much, Robbie, for having me. I can do it anytime. But as long as my English is getting better and I can explain you more, I'll be back.
Right on. Everybody just listen to Villislav, and let me tell you something. That's a man of mystery and a man of science. Something, I guess, a career you would say that I have never heard of anybody wanting to explore besides saying being an astronaut, and then your parents kind of slapping you in the head going, get a real job. Get a real job. It's like, that is a real job, and let me tell you, he's pursuing something hard as shit.
It is, actually.
All right, thanks, Villi.